if you are free, tomorrow evening, Dennis Boggs, Mr. Lincoln, will be speaking at the Citizens Library in Washington, PA, and it's in conjunction with the Citizens Library and the Washington Historical Society. So I asked him to give us a little preview. He'll also be at the show tomorrow. He's on in the afternoon, and he'll be on the show Saturday as well. So please welcome the 16th President of the United States.
Well, you know, folks, I was born in Kentucky, raised in Indiana, lived in Illinois. I've worked as a hired hand, a surveyor, a postmaster. I was a captain in the Black Hawk Indian War. I was a legislator, a lawyer, a congressman, a husband and father. And in 1860, I was elected 16th President of the United States and the first Republican to ever have that position. I was a man of peace, caught up in a time of war. I was a man of great humor, brought to great sadness by the deaths of nearly 900,000 Americans. I'm a man who many say freed a people and saved a nation, only to lose his life at the hands of an assassin. But I will probably always be remembered for delivering a very short speech in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, at a cemetery where some of my soldiers were buried. I was not, however, the main speaker that day. That honor went to someone else. The man's name was Edward Everett. He was the most famous speaker in America. He stood on the platform that day. He spoke to the people for 3 hours. Tell me what he said. I spoke to the people a little less than 3 minutes. And this is what I said. 87 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now, we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We're met on a great battlefield of that war. We've come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It's altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate. We cannot consecrate. We cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little know, no long remember what we say here. But it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It's rather that we be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us. That from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, and that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.